Hi, everybody, and welcome to Everyday Hockey. This is episode 11. Today in the program, we will update you on all sorts of stuff, I guess. What's happening in the NHL, maybe a little bit about what my daughter Erica is doing, and we'll have another parenting tip for you, as good as it can be. Dale and I are ancient parents, and we've had some experience, so maybe we've got something that you hadn't thought of.
Yeah, it's great to be part of episode Mark Messier.
Okay, there you go.
Whenever I see 11, I can't help it. It's like I go back and I revert to old numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And Messier is the most famous number 11 that I recall.
Yeah, hard hitting. Well, let's hope that this is a hard hitting episode.
Oh, for sure. Before we really get into things, I wanted to I got a text message from my friend Greg Boggs. We used to play hockey together back in Vermilion, and he got me playing hockey this winter. And he sent me a message that his 65 and over team that he played with out in Stony Plain were national champions in Calgary last weekend. And I wanted to give those guys a shout out because I actually went on the ice a couple times with those guys, like 65 plus guys, and got lit up badly. Got humbled. There's some excellent hockey players out there, and they are in such great shape. That's so great for Greg and all those guys out in Stony Plain. So congratulations.
National champions. Congratulations for sure. Here's a little update on Erica. She came back from Sweden in Regina here and got a message from a girl that she played against over in Sweden, who's from Regina, and got invited to go play in the Louis Riel Cup down in Saskatoon. Warman, actually, right next to Saskatoon. But anyway, she went down there and they lost their first game and then won the next 4 games and won this Louis Riel Cup, which was it was interesting. We were able to watch it. We were still out in Nova Scotia. We were able to watch it on an app called Live Barn. I don't know if you've heard of this, Dale.
Live Barn? No, that sounds interesting.
Live Barn. It's really cool. They've got cameras set up at rinks all over North America. If you're interested in watching minor hockey or, whatever, you can subscribe to this app and it's like $20 a month and you can watch games all over the place. Which is super cool because, if you're a grandparent, you're living out in Nova Scotia and your grandchild is playing in Warman, Saskatchewan, you can watch them. So anyway, we were able to watch Erica's games and I thought it was kind of cool to win. They had to go over to the B side and then work their way through.
Yeah.
And she played, I think, 3 full games of hockey on Saturday.
Wow. Wow.
It's like back to the days of minor hockey, where you were staying in a hotel down there, minus maybe the mini stick games in the hallway. That was it.
Wow.
So they ended up winning the whole thing. Louis Riel Cup champions. There was a cash prize, so she walked away with a bit of money in her pocket as well. And so it was quite an experience. And then we had lots of family down there who were watching her, so she got to play in front of the friends and the family there. So it was pretty good.
That must have felt really good, like considering like her team in Sweden had the playoff exit. But just to win anything feels good. Like it's like, and to play 3 games on the Saturday, that's taxing.
No kidding. But it's validation, right? It's to say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're a pretty good hockey player. Granted, it wasn't at the level that maybe the SDHL in Sweden is, not all pros, but still, it was good competition. She actually struggled a little bit in the first game because I think it was, wow, you're used to the structure of the game where you're going where you're supposed to be, but she's hinging as a defenseman to give her other defensemen an alternative passing play, and they don't recognize that.
Right.
So
it's interesting because it makes me think. So here you are as parents still watching your daughter all these years later. I was wondering if you had any tips in terms of just things to look out for your kids in terms of getting prepared. I know we've kind of covered it a little bit, but is there anything you could recommend to parents in terms of conditioning, in terms of anything to help your son or daughter along?
One of the things that if I went right back to little kids, like little kids when they're really young, one of the things that we did as parents, and not because we knew anything about it, but just because we were enthusiastic with sports. We had them involved in all sorts of things. Even when they were little toddlers, I had 1,000 balls laying around the house, and I was chucking them at the kids all the time. Always chucking balls at them. Not golf balls, Dale. Soft Nerf balls, things like that.
I wasn't going to say medicine ball.
No, but teaching them how to catch and stuff like that just gives them that hand-eye coordination. And then mini sticks obviously laying all over the place, and they were, even as little babies crawling around, Andrew would grab the mini stick and was batting the ball around, because you play with them like that, model that behavior. The one thing that I know as an exercise for young kids, one of the very best exercises that young kids can do is the monkey bars. The monkey bars are just so important. And what it does is it just builds that upper body strength with their body weight. And I remember Erica, and maybe I've told this story before on here, but maybe not. She came home and she had blisters on her hands. And I said to her, for gosh sakes, Erica, what happened there? She said, It's the monkey bars. And I said, well, what are you doing? Well, I'm just doing the monkey bars at recess all the time. And I said, well, stop doing it if it's giving you. And she goes, I can't stop.
Wow. That's really cool. I mean, what a great way to build strength and conditioning.
Well, and I remember, one of the teachers at an interview saying to us that what they noticed about Erica was that she's jacked. Her shoulders are so solid because, but that's what she was doing all the time. And so when you think about conditioning for little kids, you don't want, you see those internet things of like a kid at age 5 and he's just muscled right out, and you go, well, that's got a borderline child abuse there. So maybe we don't want to do that, but give them those opportunities to go to the playgrounds and stuff like that and just do overhead stuff where they're building that shoulder muscles and chuck balls at them so that they get that hand-eye coordination thing going.
Right.
One of the things I was reminded of when we were talking about watching Eric on that live barn thing.
Yeah.
Dale, I want to tell you about my proudest moment as a hockey parent.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got 3 kids and they're all playing hockey. One time this happened, Dale. We went down to Weyburn because Erica had a game down there. And Emily also had a game in Weyburn that very same time. So there was 2 rinks and they're attached. At the very same time, Andrew was playing for the Regina Pats. I was able to listen to Andrew's game while standing in the Zamboni area between the 2 rinks in Weyburn. And I was watching Emily and I was watching Erica and I was listening to Andrew at the same time. So
wow. That's cool, man.
Was one of those moments where you went, whoa, this is amazing.
That's a devoted parent right there.
Well, it was just one of those things where you go, oh, I'm going to miss something here. But actually, I didn't miss anything that one time.
It's interesting. It's kind of ironic. I spoke to a friend of mine this week, Neil Hunter. Neil was playing in a seniors tournament, like an old timers tournament in Wainwright, Alberta. So they have the dual rinks, just like Emily and Erica there.
Mm-hmm,
and so the team on the opposite rink go, hey, can you lend us a couple guys? Because we only have like 5 guys. We're only icing 5 people. Neil and this other guy on the team, they volunteer. So what they were doing was they were playing simultaneously 2 games at once. Like they would walk between the walkway. Yeah.
That's awesome.
He told me that this week, and it's like, what a great story. Oh my. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay, in the world of professional hockey, I would like to say this. Like my gallbladder, the Winnipeg Jets' playoff hopes are now medical waste. 2 straight losses, Dale. First to the Flyers, 7-1. Then the Golden Knights, 6-2. The Fonzie effect in Vegas, of course. Wherever he goes, they win the next 10 games in a row.
Right.
And then things start to kind of go sideways a little bit when players start to resent the fact that he's kind kind of being the way Tortorella is. But I guess that's it for the Jets. I mean, I think mathematically they still have, a chance. So for some
Well,
diehards, but I'm being a realist here and saying I think they got 3 or 4 games left. Yeah, that
I,
that
I,
one's done.
I watched that, I watched that Flyer game, because the Oilers played the afternoon game, and I don't know. The Flyers were just seemed like they were just determined. They were hell bent to win it all, and they got that Porter Martone,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
and he went to the NCAA and he beefed up by I don't know how many 20, 25 pounds or something, and all of a sudden now he's a force, and he could be a force in the playoffs, which is just kind of wild.
To bring a guy like that in so late in the season and then have him being an impact player. I think he got a shorty. It was just watched the game and he just went, "Where are you, Hellebuck? Where's their offense? Where 7-1? Like 7-1
Yeah,
is not a mid-season kind of, we're trying hard game. That's a I give it up, and especially when it was a must-win game. But again, you go back to after Hellebuck had his injury, they lost 11 in a row. 11
right.
games in a row, mid-season is
Yeah,
just not a. I mean, they
yeah.
did actually a phenomenal job since the Olympic break. It's just too much to give up. I mean, you win 3 of those games in there, you got an extra 6 points. Now you're in the wild card spot and defending it rather than trying to catch up and hoping that somebody else loses.
To me, they're if they would have got in, they would have been a real threat, because to me they're like one of the more talented teams looking in from the outside now. It's too bad. I did want to say something about Tortorella,
Okay.
because I think I had a really cool one of those cool celebrity encounters on Twitter, not with Tortorella but with Larry Brooks.
Right. And for those who don't know, Larry spent about 5 decades writing about the Rangers for the New York Post.
I had sent something out a few years ago and he commented and he sent me a direct message, a DM, and we were commenting on the Rangers and the Oilers, and it was really cool to me. We didn't have a long conversation or anything, but it was just really cool that he reached out to me and we were having a conversation about hockey. I remember Larry Brooks most famously from the encounters with Tortorella, where each guy was not given an inch. Anyway, I know Larry Brooks passed away, and I sent a message on his Twitter feed on the DM that we had going, and his son reached out and said thanks. Thanks for your kind words about my dad, and that made me feel really good, because just the fact that he actually reached out to me, I can't even tell you what a great feeling that was. It's like, wow, this guy, like Larry Brooks, I'm pretty sure Larry Brooks is in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, that's kind of cool. It reminds me of another quick story of when I worked on the marketing for the Oilers. We had to record Chris Pronger, Michael Pekka, Jason Smith, and Ryan Smith in a studio in the east side of Edmonton. We had to bring in Rod Phillips, who was the voice of the Oilers at the time before
Hmm.
Jack Michaels, and Rod Phillips had to recreate play-by-play of Pronger and Pekka before the season started. So I
Okay.
wrote a script, and oh my God, he absolutely. So he does his first take, and it is so incredibly great. Me and the producer are looking at each other, and he goes, "Is that okay, boys?" We're like, yeah, we might as well just do one safety take, but yeah, that's pretty good. But it was kind of cool, because at the end of that session, I got to say, out of all those guys, Ryan Smith was super, super nice and
Hmm.
interested in us, what we were
Okay.
doing.
Okay.
And not that the other guys weren't nice, they were all really professional gentlemen.
Hmm.
Um, but Rod Phillips was so great. And at the end of the session, I asked him for his autograph on the script. And I still have that script to this day.
Okay.
Yeah.
in the
So
in the hockey memorabilia announcer category.
that's in the hockey memorabilia. That's my ever expanding hockey memorabilia collection, which I participated in National Hockey Card Day on Saturday. And
Yeah, and how
I
did
ended
that
up,
go?
it went really well, really, really well. I ended up getting like 3 Matthew Schaefer rookie cards. So,
Oh,
well,
wow.
they're National Hockey Card Day cards. So they're not They're not like his Upper Deck Young Guns card or anything, but
Hmm.
nice to have them. Yeah.
So and you went to a card shop, obviously.
Yeah, went to a couple card shops, and London Drugs was actually giving out cards this year. So
Oh,
went to a couple of London Drugs locations, and my cousin Lance, he's in his late 60s, and he's been collecting. Oh my God, since the 1960s, he's been
mm-hmm.
collecting. I thought this was cool. We ran into a couple of dads and their young kids, their young sons. They were just in front of us in line, and the dads are going, "Hey, how long have you guys been collecting?" And it's like, a long time.
Yeah. 50 years.
But the enthusiasm on the kids was
Yeah.
fantastic. And yeah, we really wanted to talk to them more, because it's like, I remember having, I guess I still have that kind of enthusiasm. It's just a little more contained
Yeah.
now. So, but those kids were like over the moon getting their cards. It was really cool to see.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
They're gonna take any Kachuk they've got and put it on their bike as a one of those little brrrr on the back tire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because this year's National Hockey Card Day, like the base set does have a Matthew Tkachuk.
Oh,
So
nice.
I do have one, and I am looking forward to, oh, I'm
Biking
looking
season.
forward to biking season. Plus, the fire pit out front, I might need some kindling.
Oh, speaking of everyday hockey, our good friend on Facebook did post a video of Matthew.
Oh yeah.
Can you tell us about that, Dale?
Oh, is that that's the game? Well, that's the highlights where against the Sharks, where the one thing that stood out to me was Desharnais like completely flattening him, like just flattened him. And it's funny because it came, like, that highlight package came around the same time as the Kachuk brothers had their dad on, and we may have touched on this before, but Keith Kachuk, the comments that were made were, I think, caused a lot of uneasiness in that Ottawa dressing room. And I'm happy Ottawa made it, and we're going to see how far they're going to go. But I got a gut feeling that Brady Kachuk's not going to stick around. He's destined for a U.S. market.
It's like for them, the Canadian teams are second tier.
Oh, for sure. I mean, people blame Brad Treliving for the dismantling of the Calgary Flames and the Toronto Maple Leafs, but he couldn't stop Gaudreau, rest in peace, Gaudreau, from committing to Columbus, and he couldn't stop Matthew Tkachuk from requesting a trade out for Jonathan Huberdeau. Poor guy's like, man, I can imagine the pressure on that guy all the time when he knows his good buddies who he grew up with in the Florida organization have 2 cups. So
yeah, no kidding. What a feeling that is. And thank you, Matthew Tkachuk. We make fun of those guys all the time, but they are fun to watch get beat up, because there was another Logan Stanley with his Buffalo jersey on. Another episode of the Brady Punch. I kind of like that.
It's funny about those guys. Like, they're both really talented hockey players.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think it's part of the media attention, and it's the media attention and the comments, like the stuff that gets public from the ice. It's like, and I know that they're trying to grow the game in the United States, and they have their podcast and everything. They're doing it in a
obnoxious American way.
Yeah, it's just it's like, you're not going to grow the game that way. It's like,
it will to a certain point, but a 15-second TikTok clip is not growing the game really. It's growing the clicks, but it's not really growing the game.
Exactly. There was something I witnessed last night, and because obviously I'm a proud Canadian, I don't like to lose to the Americans or the Russians or any other, or Sweden or any other, or Finland, all the powerhouses. Last night, Jonathan Quick played his final game. The Florida players, they were playing in Florida. They asked him to come back to the ice, because what he did was he was pulled in the last minute and he just exited the game. And
Mm.
so, from what I hear from reports, Sergei Bobrovsky asked for him to come back to the ice.
Hmm.
And you know, Jonathan Quick has my respect because he was so classy in coming back. It wasn't me, 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 look at me. It was
Hmm.
thank you guys.
Hmm.
And what a career I've had. Like 3 Stanley Cups, like 2 with Los Angeles where he was the main guy. That's the way to go. That's the way to be. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Again, integrity intact.
Oh, big time. Like that guy's a Hall of Famer, man. He's he's a first ballot Hall of Famer
Hmm.
without a doubt. Yeah.
Speaking of Hall of Famers, McDavid is on a bit of a tear lately, but what are you seeing, Dale, as we head down the line now towards well, we got 2 games left,
One
3 games left.
we got Oilers Oilers now, like other teams have 2 games, but Oilers have one left against Vancouver at
Hmm.
home on Thursday, the 16th of April. And I'm going to go out on a limb, make a bold prediction right now. I don't know if it's that bold, but McDavid has 48 goals and he's 2 away from 50. And I'm predicting he's going to get 50 goals. And if he gets 50 goals, I think he's 4 points ahead of Kucherov right now and like 6 or 7 ahead of McKinnon. If McDavid gets 50 goals, I think he should be a shoe-in for the Hart Trophy for MVP because he's carried the Oilers since Draisaitl's been out, and Draisaitl is a significant loss. I know. I just posted an article. It looks like Draisaitl's back skating and in practice with the team, so he'll be back early in the playoffs. But McDavid, it's like there's been debates. There's been debates even on Hockey Night in Canada about the Norris Trophy, whether Evan Bouchard should even be in the conversation. And the same thing they're talking about McDavid. Is it like he's just so good? Is there McDavid fatigue? People are just tired.
Well,
And
yeah, I mean, you look at a guy like Caulfield and you say, well, he
yeah,
should be in the conversation too.
he should.
He's got
Caulfield.
he's got 50 goals and he didn't have any empty netters.
Exactly. Well, there you go. I mean, that's huge. Exactly. No empty netters and 50 goals. That's major. And well, same thing. Like I think McKinnon's going to be in the conversation. I think Kucherov's going to be in the conversation. Yeah, I think probably Celebrini too. I don't know. I got a friend of mine, Blair McNabb. He's a huge Calgary Flames fan, and he posted something about he Evan Bouchard and his when he turns the puck over, it's usually pretty dramatic, and it showed a picture of Bouchard in the kitchen making apple turnovers, and and it made me think. I wonder if Bouchard is a big fan of Bachman turnover drive, you know.
I've got a good story. Speaking of turnovers, Andrew, when he was playing for the Regina Pats, played with Jordan Eberle, and their captain at the time was a guy named Colton Tubert, and Tubert was one of those like weird human beings who, at age 13 was 6'4" and 225 pounds and all that kind of thing, and his size got him the #1 bantam draft pick in the WHL.
Wow.
So he ended up coming to the Pats. He could run guys over and all that kind of thing. Like you're playing with a guy like Jordan Eberle, who is next level skilled guy with hands and able to think the game in a way that very few in the WHL could.
Yeah.
He was the franchise player. But they always put the two of them together. They always say, Tubert and Eberle, Tubert and Eberle. Tubert becomes the captain of the team.
Yeah.
Andrew didn't have a very good necessarily experience with him because Andrew was a rookie at the time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But one time during practice, because Tubert was known for turning the puck over in the slot, one time during practice, Eberle ordered up a pizza for him. Andrew said, "Oh, this guy from like Domino's is coming walking down the steps in the Brand Center. He's got a pizza." He said, "I got an order here for Colton Tubert."
Oh my
Because he
God.
was always serving pizzas up in the slot.
Eberle's had a good career, man. Like,
Mm.
his time in Seattle's been, he's always on the score sheet. He's still contributing. But
Yeah, and I believe he has actually re-signed with them. I know I was watching the broadcast the other night, and they said that he had re-signed with the Kraken, but he had checked with his wife first because I mean they've got a couple little kids and stuff like that. But still phenomenal player, and
yeah,
always another one of those guys where you go, he's a very classy character.
right,
He
right.
not he you don't hear him running his mouth. You don't hear him getting into
Yeah,
any kind of controversy. He's got kind of a little bit like Crosby, like phenomenal talent and humble about it and goes about his business.
yeah, yeah. Actually, I would recommend, if anyone gets a chance, Ovechkin the same way. If anyone gets a chance to watch a video of Ovechkin where stuff he does behind the scenes,
Mm-hmm.
like um, all these people that he's helped over the years, made a video about him and what he's done behind
Mm-hmm.
where no one knows. And
Yeah.
one guy in particular, there was a story about this when he came to Edmonton. It was a cold day, 2 or 3 years ago, and Ovechkin was walking around and he saw a guy with no shirt on in the cold, and I think he went and bought him a new jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Ovechkin took him and went to a store, I think,
Yeah.
and that guy was on the video. It's like, just he does those kinds of things, and classy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah. Well, care for somebody other than yourself, right? And then
yeah,
sometimes I think professional athletes get the reputation of being, all bravado and all about themselves, but reality is they're human beings, and lots of them are good human beings who they share what they have, and it's a the NHL is always been a little bit more like that than other sports.
yeah, yeah. It is, and I kind of hope it continues to stay that way, even though it's growing in popularity. I just hope it doesn't get to the point where the really big mouths take it over, because
Chuck, Chuck. Well, it's good to have those guys around to make fun of anyway.
yeah,
Dale, I think that wraps up another episode of Everyday Hockey, episode number 11. We have a
yeah,
sponsor.
yes. I'd like to. I talked to Angus McMillan, and he's going to have an actual everyday hockey playoff window
Okay.
for ASAP windows and doors, and he was talking about a special deal for everyone who subscribes to our podcast. So
Nice.
thank you for that, Angus. And you can get a hold of Angus at asapwindows.ca for more information on this deal, and about, like, the weather's getting better, so time to start looking at your windows and doors.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Speaking of subscribers, Dale, we have just jumped dramatically. We've gone from 12 to 15. So thank you, 13, 14, and 15. You guys are part of a trend.
You know what? We really, really appreciate it. And anyone who's listening, please, we ask, please click that subscribe button and help us to grow the podcast. I know we kind of had a conversation before it started today. One of the things that I'd like to possibly bring more into it is more about hockey collecting and things like that. And who knows, maybe we'll have someone from Upper Deck on the show someday. That would be sweet.
If you'd like to contact us or you'd like to make a comment, please do, for gosh sakes. We have an email address, and it's everydayhockeypodcast@gmail.com.
Awesome.
Everyday Hockey is brought to you by ASAP Windows and Doors and me and Dale. Our website address is everydayhockey.ca. Our website administrator, Dale, posts videos of our favorite hockey brothers getting hockey punched, as well as links to Dale's articles on thehockeywriters.com. Subscribe, comment, let us know you're out there, and talk to you next week.